Hello and welcome to the Idiot's Guide to Speedrunning Mirror's Edge on PC. Now I say on PC because there's some specific tricks to speedrunning Mirror's Edge that can only be done on PC. And they involve rebinding your keys to certain things. So, to start with, your up action or jump needs to be rebound to either scroll up or scroll down. It doesn't really matter. Next, your down action, or slide or crouch or whatever, needs to be bound to one of the mouse clicks. I prefer mouse 2 because mouse 1 is already punch, wherever that is. I don't know. Anyway, finally, interact needs to be bound to either scroll up or scroll down. There we go, attack. But interact needs to be bound up to either scroll up or scroll down because there's a trick later which I'm going to show you that involves you having to scroll and click at the same time. So, let's get into it. So, the first trick I'm going to show you is possibly the most important trick to speedrunning Mirror's Edge. You couldn't speedrun Mirror's Edge without using this trick. It's impossible. Even the glitchless speedrunners use this trick. It's called the side jump boost, and it looks like that. And basically what it does is it takes you from standing to full running speed immediately, rather than having to speed up like this slowly until, there we go, you get to full running speed. So, basically how this works is you have to strafe left or right and jump at the same time, and then look in the direction that you want to go. So for example, I want to go this way, so I'd look this way and then strafe and jump at the same time, and you'd get that. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's one of the easiest tricks that can be done in Mirror's Edge to help you speedrun. Okay, so the next trick I'm going to show you is another commonly used trick, and it's a way to get through doors without doing this. So you see Faith does this little animation whereby she whacks the door open with her arm, and it doesn't take up a huge amount of time and has to be used at some points during a speedrun, but most of the time there's a different way that you can get doors open which just opens things ever so slightly faster. So instead of doing that animation, what you can do is jump and kick at the same time, which works in the same way as another glitch I'm about to show you, whereby if you're already in the middle of one animation, it sort of does the other animation, but without you actually doing it, which will make sense in a second. So if you're in the middle of jumping and you kick, it'll kick the door open, but it won't do the opening animation I showed you a second ago. And it looks like that, so it just means you can get through things a lot faster. Right, so the next glitch I'm going to show you is called the slide glitch. So you know how when you press buttons it looks very much like, well, that. And there's that sort of annoying button pressing animation, and it kind of stops momentum as well, which can be a bit annoying because when you have to do like a valve or something, valves in particular take a long time to do, so this saves on a lot of time if you do this instead. My puppy's making noise in the background, so that's what that is. Right, so instead what you can do is slide and press your interact, which is now bound to scroll up or scroll down at the same time. So if you click to slide and scroll at the same time, what it'll do is it'll cancel out the button pressing animation because you're already in the middle of the sliding animation. It looks a bit like this. There we go, so now the elevator door is closed. The next glitch I'm going to show you is possibly the trickiest and most important well-used glitch by speedrunners, and it's got a lot of variables that add to it, and it's got a lot of annoyances, and it's quite hard to do, especially for a newcomer, and I'm by no means a seasoned veteran of speedrunning, so I don't get it right all the time. It's called the kick glitch, and there's a video which I'm going to link in the description which explains it in a lot more depth than I'm going to explain it, but basically it looks like this. That was shameful. It looks like this. There we go. So as you can see, I sort of kicked and then jumped, which basically means that I can go a lot further. I landed about here, whereas if I just kicked, I would land about here. So it allows you to go a lot further when you jump. And basically, how you do it, or how it is done, is by when you kick in midair. So if you're running along the wall and you kick, at the end of the kicking animation, it creates an invisible platform, I presume to stop Faith from clipping through the floor. And basically, when you kick, this invisible platform, if it appears in midair, can be used to jump off of if you jump at the absolute right moment. It happens around a second, because the kicking animation takes about a second. It happens around a second after you click to kick, and basically this just allows you, like I said, to go further, and it also resets your falling, so you can fall a bit further as well. So basically, I'll show you a kick without actually doing the kick glitch, and then I'll show you the kick glitch again. So if you see, I landed on a kind of platform. There's nothing there, but I kind of bounced on something. And it's that invisible platform that you can jump off. And so I'll show you the kick glitch again here to show you just how much further you go. Went a bit lower there, but it still pretty much had the same effect. I landed a lot further than I would have with a kick. It's important to note that the angle at which you head onto the wall for the wall run before the kick glitch determines the angle that you come out. So if you want to go more adjacent to the wall, you want to come in at a steeper angle, so like this. I'll show you that again. So I land about here. And then if I go in closer to the wall, I land about here. So it's a little bit further away from the wall. So it's important to note that the angle you go in depends on the angle you come out, or rather the angle you come out depends on the angle you come in. That's explained a lot more in depth in the video I'll link, and I'm just sort of mentioning it here. The next trick I'm going to show you is a quicker way to get across pipes, which is used quite a few times during a speedrun. And there was a way that speedrunners used to do this, which was quick, but not as quick as this way I'm about to show you. And that was by jumping and then sliding, which would get you around halfway across a pipe before you had to do the annoying balancy animation, which takes forever. So basically, how you do this is you can just jump across the pipes, like so. Oh, I didn't get it the second time, but that's because... That's because it requires a lot of timing, doing this. You can't just spam jump and hope for it to work, although it did there, it doesn't usually. You have to time your jumps so that you jump almost immediately as you land on the pipe again, like so. Oop. Didn't get it again there, but I assure you this isn't actually that hard to do. I've probably just got stage fright. Shut up, puppy. There we go. So there. It basically, you jump... You jump immediately as you land on the pipe, and it just allows you to jump along pipes a lot quicker than doing the balancing animation. Just make sure you go dead onto the pipe, because if you go in at an angle, you'll jump and then miss it and end up with that. Next, here's a little tip more than a trick. If you jump upstairs, you go a hell of a lot faster for whatever reason. So if you're trying to get up a flight of stairs, like this particular one is useful for jumping up, because it's quite a long flight of stairs for Mirror's Edge, and if you jump up it, you go up it a lot faster. If you just spam jump as you're going upstairs, you'll immediately go to your fastest running speed, which is cool. Next is another pipe-related tip. If you want to avoid this annoying animation where Faith gets to the top of a pipe and kind of pulls herself up, all you have to do is jump to the side, to either side of a pipe, and it'll just avoid that animation entirely. It's easy enough to do, you just have to time it right, because sometimes you can do it too early and just fall off, and other times it'll be a bit too late and you'll end up triggering the animation like I did just then. The next trick I'm going to show you is a way to get up those walls you just can't quite get to the top of. You're trying to go up a wall and you just can't quite make it. This is a little finicky to do and requires a little bit of skill, but is nevertheless a good way of getting up slightly taller walls. As you'll see there, I kind of jerked to the side slightly, and that's because when I was running up the wall, I did a side jump, which kind of allowed me to sort of reset my jumping up the wall, and then I could immediately look back towards the wall and jump onto it. So the way you do this is when you're jumping up the wall, when you're running up the wall rather, hold down strafe left or right and jump, and then immediately look back towards the wall, like you're doing a side jump, really. There we go. It can look a bit weird, and you'll never really know if you've got it right until you actually get up the wall, but it's easy enough to do once you figure it out. Okay, here's another tip rather than a trick, although it is kind of a trick that is used by a lot of speedrunners. You'll see it in a lot of speedruns. When a speedrunner's going along a flat wall, they'll kind of jump onto it. Ooh, that's not a very good explanation. They'll kind of jump onto it and off of it like that. And this is because if you go onto like Speedrun or Time Trial, where you've got a speedometer down in the bottom, like left or right corner, you'll be able to see you'll go slightly faster when you're in the air. So you'll also see a lot of speedrunners jumping along like this when they're speedrunning, which just sort of allows them to go that little bit faster. And another way to do this, which will gain you even more speed, is if you're running along a flat wall with no objects on it, so no protrusions like that, you can jump onto and off the wall really fast. So if you double tap jump or double scroll jump, you'll just immediately go really fast along the wall like that. Okay, so the final trick I'm going to show you is somewhat specific and is only used in this one instance, and sometimes isn't even used by speedrunners. I think that's, I just noticed, I think that's the boat you're on later. Anyway, basically, guns are useful things when you get hold of them, but you only really get hold of them in this one area, or at least when you're speedrunning you will, because they can be used to smash glass, which avoids you having to do this. If I throw away my gun, can I pick it? Yeah, I can pick it up again. It avoids you having to do that animation, which is similar to opening a door. So if you've got a gun, you can shoot your way through a window. But that's not all you can do with guns. There's also another useful thing that you can, another animation that you can avoid if you happen to have a gun handy, and that is the opening door animation. So instead of jumping and kicking, what you can do is just shoot the door like so, and it'll open like that, which is useful in this one specific area. Hello. Yeah, I'm about to die. Right. So, one final thing to note is how to deal with out-of-bounds skips. Now, I'm not going to list every out-of-bounds skip that you can use in Mirror's Edge, because there's quite a few. But in a lot of instances of out-of-bounds skips, what you'll have to do is something rather specific, which can only be done. Which can only be done if you're playing during the campaign and not the speedrun. So this cannot be done on the speedruns. But if you are doing a single segment or something, there we go. And you can get out of bounds, and you know how, etc, etc. Hello, Mr. Men. I'm going to try and avoid you by going up here, which is probably not a good idea. Basically, what you'll need to do is, my puppy is probably going to bite my hand in a minute, so this may screw me over. Right, what you need to do is just go to an area and then you'll fall, and what you'll want to do is quickly quit out to the main menu and then continue. Now, I don't know whether this will actually continue from where I was a second ago. There we go. So it'll basically just take you to the next checkpoint, but what you will need to do, in some instances the game will load up around you and you'll be fine, but in a lot of instances you'll need to quit out to the main menu and then continue the game, which will take you to the next checkpoint, because what it does is, using an out of bounds skip, basically means you just take a shortcut to the next checkpoint, which means you can just go that bit faster and trigger another checkpoint. But the only way you can really trigger another checkpoint is by triggering it and then quitting out and quitting back in, so you come back in at that checkpoint. So this has been a sort of idiot's quick guide to the kind of basics of speedrunning Mirror's Edge and some slightly more advanced techniques. But really, the only way you can properly learn is by watching loads and loads of speedruns and tutorials and learning each specific trick and all the different ways to do it, etc, etc. But I hope this video has helped you sort of get started on speedrunning Mirror's Edge and learn some of the slightly more advanced tricks, and I will see you guys next time.